Welcome back to the Big Four podcast. We got a big week here today. Big podcast. I guess we'll start with a non-football related topic. Something I've kind of had on my mind is Tom Izzo's just reluctance. I don't know if it's arrogance. I don't know what it is, but he just refuses to recruit. He's just sitting on his ass playing golf with Jack Nicklaus, but he refuses to go and recruit these players. And the ones he's trying to recruit, he's whiffing on every single one. I'm sure you guys have some opinions on this. So what do you think?
It's actually because he's being out recruited by Chris Holtman. Chris Holtman is getting to every recruit he wants.
Yeah, that loss to Oral Roberts really helps.
He's also losing recruits to a bag of Lay's potato chips. So
who is it?
Last time I checked, Ohio State and Michigan didn't lose recruit to a bag of potato chips.
Listen, I think Tom Izzo is fine as a coach, but the times have passed him by recruiting-wise. There's new tactics, the transfer portal. People don't want to be coached hard.
Throwing cash at recruits, calling them while the game's going on, texting them on your cell phone while you're coaching the game, stuff like that.
People do not want to be coached hard. And that's a problem for Tom Izzo because he coaches people hard.
No, it's the same thing that happened under D'Antonio. It's one recruiting class that killed him, and he hasn't got off the mat since then. It's the 2018 class has been a complete joke. It's still a joke now. We still have a couple of those guys still here. But it's not just that. It's player development. Last year, no player development whatsoever. Everybody either stayed the same or got worse than what they were the year before. And it's malfeasance is what it is. You can't leave 3 scholarship spots open. You can't do it. If no other Big Ten coach could get away with that, no coach no coach should be able to get away with that. Any institution. And I don't want to hear, we got these football players coming in. They're on football scholarships. Bullshit. You can't count on a football player to play basketball. That's just ridiculous. And don't tell me, we want to shorten our rotation. Bullshit again. Because last year you had too many guys in the rotation. And the reason why there were too many guys is because they all sucked. And Tom he didn't want to hurt any feelings. And it's costed us. And listen, we might be a decent team this year. We might finish 8th, 9th in the Big Ten, make the tournament. But I'm sick of just refusing to innovate at all. And going after 2 transfers. We got the kid from Northeastern, but we missed on John Hara. That was a guy we missed on, and we didn't go after anybody else, which is ridiculous. You mean you need to use the transfer portal in today's time, especially when you had 4 guys transfer out of your program from the year before. But the 2022 class is a joke right now. 1 commit. We've gone after 4 or 5. He's only offered 4 or 5 guys. And we've whiffed on 4, and we've got 1, and that might be what it ends up at is 1, and that would mean 4 scholarship spots, possibly 5 open next year, depending on if people go to the draft. It's completely ridiculous. And
no one's going to the draft. He's not recruiting well, according to you. So how can you have anybody drafted? And his player development hasn't been good either. So no one should be drafted.
Well, he should be fired. Right now, he should be fired because this is small time program stuff right here. This is you can get away with this at UMaine. You can't get away with this at Michigan State. It's ridiculous.
At Western Arizona,
you couldn't even get away with this at Bishop Sycamore. You couldn't do it. This is malfeasance at the highest level. He should be fired, and we need to bring in either Nate Oates or Drew Valentine next year. It's got to happen.
That was a big whiff on John Hara. I know that was your biggest target in the trade.
Denzel Valentine.
I mean, John Hara. I mean, say what you want. He'd be the tallest big man on our team. And I don't even count Marcus Bingham because he's a converted guard who has no big man skills whatsoever. He's a good defender, but he can't do anything else. So I know Tom Izzo wants his 6'7" centers, and he fit in perfectly. He was 6'8", so he's perfect. All right. Football season. Let's move on to football. Nebraska, Illinois. Tough game for Scott Frost. Good start for Bert Bielema. Perfect game for them. What are your reactions on this quote unquote upset?
Well, I think it's a great game for Illinois. I mean, I think they have. I mean, they don't have a lot of talent, but they have some talented players. Just like any Big Ten team does. But I think this is a lot more about Nebraska than it is about Illinois. Great start to Bielema at Illinois. And I think he's going to do some good things with that program. I don't know necessarily. I mean, what are the expectations? Maybe a bowl game every year? Like, is that what his expectations are? I don't think they're very high. The problem is this is disastrous for Scott Frost. Disastrous. He's got to be number one on the hot seat now by far. And
have you looked at the website?
I haven't actually looked at the website, but it's not even as disastrous for Scott Frost as it is for the Nebraska program. Because where do they go from here? I mean, I don't want to overreact to one game, but if this plays out and you have to get rid of Scott Frost, who do you hire? No one wants to go to Nebraska. It's a big time name, but it's not a big time program anymore.
Well,
no recruit wants to go there. You're not going to get a coach there. You know, the only way they could probably get a good coach there is if they bring in a coach that has some Nebraska ties. Like, I don't know. Oh, Scott Frost, who was
Tom
a failure.
Osborne?
Was an absolute failure. This right. Nebraska, if Scott Frost can't turn this around soon, they're going to be in some dark times.
Well, they're already in dark times compared to where they used to be. Yeah, Chris, I'll get to you in a second, but I think they should go out, get Chef Monken and go back to the triple option. That's what they should do.
Listen, Nebraska, I told you guys they were going to suck, and Mike came on here.
Then why'd you pick them?
Well, they're playing Illinois. I thought would suck even worse. Mike came on here 2 weeks ago and said Nebraska was going 10-2, and I told him it's not going to happen.
I said 8-4, maybe.
Look at this team. First of all, his recruiting classes have been a complete and utter joke. Yep. Second of all, his quarterback is incompetent and has been incompetent for the last 3 years. He had a decent rookie season, freshman season. Since then, he has been a complete and utter disaster at Nebraska. And he was so incompetent in this game. 50% completion percentage of that huge fumble in the first half. It's just a complete mess of a game for Nebraska and for Adrian Martinez, who is probably the most overrated player in the country and has been for the last couple of years. So Scott Frost needs to be in the hot seat, as you guys said.
Joe Milton does exist, Chris.
Well, he's the starter at Tennessee. Scott Frost is now number one in the hot seat.
As for Illinois probably has the best quarterback room in the entire Big Ten. You look at who they have here.
Let's relax.
Brandon Peters, and Arthur Sikowski. What a game for Arthur Sikowski.
Player of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, he's experienced. He's been in the Big Ten for about 4 or 5 years already.
Yeah, tremendous game for Sikowski and a good start for Brett Bielema, although it's not a good enough win. We know Lovie Smith probably wins this game by 20 to 25 points. He's a better coach than Brett Bielema. Can't believe they fired Lovie Smith.
Well, he's the quarterback guru, which is why he's a defensive coordinator now.
Nebraska should go out and get Lovie Smith. Maybe he can help Adrian Martinez since he is a quarterback guru. But embarrassing for Nebraska.
Mike, I'm looking at this hot seat thing. Guess who's now on the hot seat?
Who's that?
Mel Tucker.
Yeah, well, the website doesn't take into account fan excitement.
Okay.
I saw Josh Johnson.
Your guy Jonathan Smith is also on the hot seat. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he'll never be off the hot seat. Okay. If Oregon State just goes to a bowl game every other year, that's good enough.
If they go to a bowl game once, they'll build a statue of him.
No, they already have built a statue of him, basically. He's like their only decent player of all time. Anyway, good win for Bielema. I see a lot of buy-in from this Illinois team. Very experienced. They have like the most super seniors in the Big Ten or something. Bunch of guys came back. Surprised to see Sikowski on the field. Obviously, I turned on the game late. I thought, did Bielema think that Sikowski was better than Brandon Peters? And I would have laughed so hard if that was the case. But no, Brandon Peters gets hurt early. But They look good. Illinois looks similar to how they've looked the past couple of years. 500 type team, and Nebraska unfortunately looks exactly the way they've looked the past couple of years. Also, no improvement. Defense was okay, but the offense is a joke. Gave him no, and special teams was a complete and utter joke. And he's going to have to really turn the ship around here. They got a couple tough games coming up, including at Oklahoma coming up pretty soon. So they got a tough Fordham team too coming up this week. So that'll be interesting. Okay. we're moving on to all right, I'm gonna write this down. Final playoff picks. I know the year's already started, but I'll document this. What are your final playoff predictions?
Chris, you can go.
All right. I have Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Clemson. Sorry. Let me revise that. Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Ohio State.
Mike, are you going to pick Cincinnati?
No. Chris, did you see what that Michigan reporter said?
What?
He said it was disrespectful that Cade McNamara wasn't on the Heisman watch list.
That's a little far. I like the guy, but my God.
He sucks.
All right, I'm going with Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, and USC.
Jesus Christ.
USC is my team this year.
USC might be the third or fourth best team in the South.
Well, they're going to be the best at the end of the year. It doesn't matter where you are right now, Mike. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the Mike Jones rankings has you in week 0. It matters where you are at the end of the year.
One.
LH14 has a number 1A in the country.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I think they're a sure thing.
Nope, I don't think. I think Texas is going to beat them, and Iowa State's going to beat them.
No, this is Oklahoma's best team in probably
Doesn't matter
in the last 20 years at least, by far.
You want to talk about choke artists?
Yeah, well, they're not choke artists to make the playoff every year. How's that choking?
Because they've never won it.
Okay, fair enough. Oklahoma, I think Ohio State's a given. I'm going to go.
I don't think that's true. I think it's hard to say a team's a given when they have a quarterback who has never played a meaningful snap.
Well, he had a 48-yard touchdown against Michigan State. That's all I needed to see.
I could have a 48-yard touchdown against Michigan State, and I run a 7.3 40.
No, you could maybe get away with a 41-yard touchdown, but 48, that's a little tough. I got Oklahoma, Ohio State, Georgia, and I'm going to go out on a limb on this one. Give me Texas A&M. They're on the come up. This is a Luke pick here.
This is a classic.
Chris picked Texas A&M 2 years ago. I picked him last year, and now you're jumping on the train this year.
Well, here's the
At
thing.
what point do you learn out it doesn't work?
This has happened.
They got the talent.
This has happened with multiple teams. I've been on a team, and and Mike will talk about how bad they are. And the next year, he is all in on that team.
I never said Texas A&M was bad last year. I never said that. I like Texas A&M.
Every year. It happens with one team every year.
I think Jimbo's a little overbearing and his offense is a little outdated. But I mean, if he gets the quarterback,
they had the quarterback last year.
They just didn't have the quarterback, and that was their problem. They got a quarterback this year. At least they think they do.
Here's a question: does Cincinnati have a chance to make the playoff?
No.
Yes,
Kirk
undefeated,
said they do. If they go undefeated, they're in for sure, no matter what.
No chance.
I agree with you.
That's what he said.
Because they play at Indiana and at Notre Dame. Those are, if you win both those games and win out, it'll be hard to leave you out. Of the playoff.
No chance. 0.
They start number 7 in the country. I mean, obviously, college football rankings are different than the AP poll, but
it does matter where you're ranked to start the year.
But it does
100% matters.
No, I understand. No, I agree with you. I think them starting it's like Houston a few years ago. Them starting 7th is a huge deal.
Yep. All right. So we'll move on to some game previews. We got this is one of the best week ones I've ever seen. A lot of great conference games.
The more
non-conference games.
the more conferences that are starting their seasons early, and the more non-conference games that get scheduled between big teams because it makes some money, the better games we're going to have. This is going to continue on for the next few years.
Yep. And we'll see how the alliance, which we didn't really talk about, how that affects this. We'll start with the first big game, Ohio State at Minnesota Thursday night. How are we feeling about this game?
I think I think we would all agree Ohio State's going to win. It's at Minnesota though, right?
Yeah.
So this is a classic Ohio State letdown, but I think they'll win. And it will be interesting to see how CJ Stroud plays and how much Ryan Day trusts him with the offense. How open that playbook is. Usually Ohio State doesn't start with a very open playbook to start the year, but with a sophomore quarterback, redshirt freshman quarterback, I don't know if he's a redshirt or not, but he's set first year quarterback, hasn't played a meaningful snap, has a year with the offense. It'll be interesting to see how much freedom Ryan Day gives him. But I mean, you couldn't ask for any better weapons than this kid has.
Yeah, I think Minnesota is pretty much screwed this year. They reached their peak, and PJ Fleck didn't go out and take any jobs that he could have, because they're never getting back to that point. He's never going to get those offers anymore. They don't have as much talent as they used to. They lost a lot from last year. So
they're going to have to slow down the game. If they want any chance in this game, they're going to have to hand it off to what's his face and slow the game down. He's going to have to average like 5 to 6 yards a carry.
Ohio State, as Luke said, the thing you got to watch here is how much they let CJ Stroud go, especially at the beginning of the game. Might be different if they're up by 30 points or whatever, but it'll be interesting to see at the beginning of the game how they let the offense, how much they let them play around the playbook.
I wouldn't be shocked if you see a lot of runs and then a lot of play action off of it to try to settle them in.
Well, here's the thing. I think
Ohio State should be able to beat Minnesota running the ball every play if they want to. I mean, their offensive line should just impose their will on them.
Well, you know what this Minnesota team reminds me of? That Purdue team that beat Ohio State a couple years ago. Now Ohio State's a much better team. Hopefully they're a much better team than they were back then. And Ohio State's defense is hopefully 20 times better. But Minnesota, what is their calling card? This year, we think they're going to have a really good offense, and we think their defense is going to suck. At least that's what we think. So if they can somehow,
but they don't have a stud
early.
I mean, what's the running back's name? Muhammad? Ibrahim Muhammad. Isn't that his name?
The other way around.
Muhammad Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
I mean, he's their stud, but he's not like, I don't know. I feel like it's not a guy you can get on the edge, get the ball to on the edge and get him in space. I mean, the Ohio State defensive line, it's their best unit this year.
Well, who knows? Maybe Ohio State secondary starts off the year shaky and Tanner Morgan throws for 500 yards. I don't think Minnesota can win, but I think it's one of those games where if you don't take it seriously, then it's gonna be a struggle. And who the heck knows where Luke went? Well, there he is. Hold on. All right. So let's move on to our next game. Friday night, Michigan State travels to Northwestern.
Do we have a quarterback yet?
Nope. Didn't announce it.
They're not going to announce it until the game or maybe day of.
Mel didn't even announce his long snapper. He's like, yeah, we got a battle, but it's really coming down to the end here.
Do they have to, college football doesn't make you announce a starter, do they?
Nope.
So we won't know a starter till basically he runs on the field probably.
Well, yeah, we'll know when Beth Mowins tells us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Peyton Thorne.
I think it's going to be Thorne as well. I think Russo's a disaster. That guy had an awful career at
Yeah, he's only set a bunch of records passing the
Yeah,
ball.
for most interceptions
Yeah, for
thrown.
most interceptions. Seriously, the guy loves to turn the ball. I know Mike. Mike loves to talk about how interceptions don't matter. It's one of his favorite points. But this guy loves to turn the ball over. Can't get enough of it. Michigan State is not going to win this game. Northwestern, better team, more experienced team. Let me tell you something.
They're not a more experienced. They're just
They're
not.
a more experienced team.
They're a way younger team than we are.
Nope, that's not true. You have to look at the experience under the coach.
Oh, I see experience on the bench watching.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. And you look at, I'm going to tell you about this guy, Hunter Johnson. This guy is a stud.
Right.
Have a great year for Northwestern, and they are going to beat Michigan State probably like 13-9 on Friday night. It'll be one of the most painful college football games to watch of the entire season.
I respect that prediction. It's probably what's going to happen. Listen, there's no excuse. You got to win the football game. All right, we're facing a Northwestern team. They got a bunch of problems. Okay, quarterback, that's an issue. Hunter Johnson hasn't proven that he can even throw a football. Okay, he sucked a couple of years ago. Who knows? Maybe he's turned into that 5-star quarterback that they thought they were bringing in. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. At least, I mean, who knows? You never know. But I mean, and they lost their number one running back for the year, a running back that made every other running back on the roster transfer because of how good he was, out for the year. Who the heck even knows who they're starting at running back? They got no experience on the wide receiver core at all. They got an okay offensive line, but once again they're inexperienced there too. Defense.
This game's gonna be 0-0.
On the defense, they got that All-American safety, but besides them, they lost all three of their big linebackers from last year, including Patty Fisher. And Michigan State, there's just no. You got to win the football game. We have more talent. We even showed last year that we had more talent when we beat them at home. On the road,
This is gonna be a classic Big Ten game. It's gonna be 13-7.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you.
What's the weather supposed to be like?
Oh, I haven't checked that.
The only thing that makes it more Big Ten is if it snows.
Yeah, but Ryan Field is basically Spartan Stadium 2.0. With the amount of alums we have there in Chicago, we usually fill that stadium pretty good. I'm expecting a win. If we don't win the football game, then I start getting worried. But we got to win the football. There's just no excuses. Got to win that football.
Well, I thought you said you're all in and you're going to go 12-0.
Yeah, if we win the game, then I'll say we'll go 12-0, no doubt. But we got to win the game first. And I mean, if we lose, I can't say we're going 12-0, right? I mean,
so you'll be going 11-1.
We'll see. All right, next game. Western Michigan at Michigan. This is an upset alert.
It's not an upset alert.
According to a couple of Instagram pages.
This is not an upset alert. This is going to be classic Michigan. They're going to blow them out by 60. They're going to be, I don't know what their schedule looks like, but they're going to, whatever their first big game is, they're going to be going in undefeated into that game, looking really good. Everyone's going to be like, oh, is Jim Harbaugh finally hit on a quarterback? Is Jim Harbaugh finally figure out what he needs to do at Michigan?
At Washington.
And then at Washington,
yeah,
they'll win. This is what's going to happen. They'll win that game. Because Washington isn't, I don't think they're very good. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the Pac-12, but I don't think Washington is very good on a national scale. And what's going to happen is they're going to beat them, and people are going to be like, "Oh, watch out for Michigan! Look at Michigan! They finally won a big game against a big-time opponent. Can they finally do it?" And then they're going to go into Penn State or Wisconsin, whoever their first big game is, and lose close. And they're going to go to the next one and lose by 40, and then it's going to end up being like a 8-4 season with a 60-point loss to Ohio State.
They're going 6-6, 7-5.
All right. I mean, I pretty much agree with exactly what Luke says. They're going to beat up on these teams.
It happens every year. Except for last year, but that was a COVID year.
You have to. One thing you got to say about Harbaugh is he usually does not lose games he's supposed to win. For the most part, he does not lose those games.
And he also doesn't win games he's supposed to lose.
Yeah.
So
So, or even supposed to be like competitive in. Like again,
any close game, any game where the spread is under 7 points, Harbaugh loses.
Yeah. And this is what I've said last week. They are going to win every game other than Penn State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State, and they'll lose those 3 games by combined like 100 points.
You're underestimating Washington. And you really are. I'm saying that right now.
Washington's not good. Listen,
You won't even have 100 yards of offense against Washington.
They're just not very good. They're just not a good team. Washington's not good.
That's why they produce a shit ton of NFL players.
I don't care. They're not good. They're in the Pac-12. They're not good.
Don't pull that card because we tried to do that in basketball last year. We saw that happen.
No, well, that's different.
Yeah, go ask Bill Walton what his playoff prediction is this year. It's going to be USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon.
Listen, I expect the defense to be much improved from last year and return most of the starters. New system under Mike McDonald. A healthy Aiden Hutchinson. I think this defense will be much improved.
Chris.
They will not be improved in the games against Penn State, Wisconsin, and Ohio State, but they will be improved in games against like Rutgers, and they won't let up 41 points to Rutgers again like they did last year.
Chris, Harbaugh pulled a Mark D'Antonio.
What's that?
He reshuffled the deck chairs. He moved half his coaches to different positions.
Yeah, well, the big one is he got Mike McDonald. He was with the Ravens.
He moved his son. Is Jay Harbaugh his son or his brother? He moved Jay Harbaugh to freaking tight ends coach from quarterbacks coach.
Listen, you got to do what you got to do to get the guys set up in the right spots.
This is going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. It really is.
They're going to be 9-3. It's going to be the most uncompetitive 9-3 of all time.
Usually I'm the one that's high on Michigan, and you're the one that says they're going to suck. It's the opposite this year.
I'm not high on them. They're going to be 9-3 and beat teams that aren't good.
They don't even have a chance to win 9 games, Chris. They are not a good team. You think this team is going to somehow go from 2-5, where the heck they were last year? Sorry, 2-3, because they were afraid to play the last 2 games of the year, and you expect them to come out and all of a sudden be a much better team.
Listen, I know
Michigan State only won 2 games last year, and you think they're going to go 12-0.
Yeah, and Michigan State went in the transfer portal, and they got 20 new guys, and Michigan has the same roster they had last year.
Okay, Michigan is the 15th ranked team in the talent composite.
I don't care about talent. Harbaugh's proven nothing to me with talent.
Let's see where Michigan State is in the talent composite.
We were like 37th.
36th in the talent composite. So, listen. The offense, I expect McNamara to manage the game, nothing more.
The Heisman hopeful. That's right.
I expect him to just manage the game.
Every year, Chris, we got the media coming out and saying how a guy should be on the Heisman list. Every year. Doesn't matter who the quarterback was. Doesn't matter.
All he needs to do is not turn the ball over. I don't care what he does. I don't care how far he throws the ball. And I heard dinks and ducks. Do not turn the ball over. And Michigan will be fine to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And they are going to beat Western Michigan in this game. They'll blow them out. I know Western Michigan can score a little bit, but it'll be like 41-17 or something like that. And then people will be all high on Michigan. And then they'll go and play Wisconsin in a couple weeks and get absolutely blasted.
I like Michigan in the football game. I think this is a good opportunity for their defense, new scheme. New 4-3. They basically decided we're going to turn into Mark D'Antonio's defense, and you saw that worked at the end of his tenure. Really worked out well. But we'll see. I mean, Western Michigan's going to move the ball. They got the talent to move the ball. They got Michigan State transfer Ladarius Jefferson at running back, guy who sucks, but he's good at Western Michigan. So Michigan should win the game. They have more talent, but I mean, you never know with these rivalry games. You never know. All right, we got 2 big games, 2 big conference games left here. We got Wisconsin hosting Penn State at noon, big noon kickoff, and then we got Indiana going on the road to Iowa. 2 big games to start conference season. What are your opinions on both of these games?
All right. The Penn State game, I think, is a lot bigger for Penn State than it is Wisconsin. I think James Franklin has a lot more to prove coming off last year and the last couple of years of kind of overachieving but underachieving at the same time, if that's possible. But Wisconsin's going to come out prepared. I mean, they always do. They're going to run the ball. They're always able to run the ball. They have what's-his-face who looked like he slinging a little bit around the field. Everyone's excited for him. And I don't know how this game's going to go. I really don't. This could go any one of like 8 ways. And if you made me pick the game, I'm probably going to pick Wisconsin. But who knows? This is just one of those games. Just who knows? Because it's not like if Ohio State was coming out and playing Penn State this week, I'd pick Ohio State every time because I feel like just they have the talent edge. I just don't know who has the talent edge. I think Wisconsin's style of play helps them out a lot again in this game and against a team like Penn State. And I think you can't underestimate the James Franklin factor to lose a game. You can't underestimate it. And then we have the Indiana-Iowa game, which is also could be a very interesting game because I think both teams will be prepared, but earlier in the year, some rust, I think that favors Iowa in this game, even though Indiana's probably the better team.
Chris?
Yeah, I think Wisconsin is going to blow the doors off of Penn State. Penn State was not good last year.
Okay,
really
and Michigan
bad.
was. You think they're going to go 9-3, but Penn State, they were terrible last year.
I think Penn State's going 9-3 too.
What?
Yeah.
Now every team's going 9-3.
You think every team's going to go 12-0?
It's going to be a uncompetitive 9-3 for Penn State, and this is going to be one of their losses. Wisconsin is really good. They're better than Penn State. They're better coached. They have a better team. They have a better quarterback. They are a better team than Penn State. And enough with Sean Clifford. This guy blows. He's awful. And everybody talks about him like he's like a Heisman hopeful. He sucks.
Well, Cade McNamara is a Heisman hopeful, so.
Wisconsin is going to win this game easily. They're going to enforce their will on Penn State. Easy win for Wisconsin. The Iowa-Indiana game will be a good game. I think Indiana is going to be a very competitive team this year, but their schedule's tough. And I like Iowa's. I just like Iowa better. I think Spencer Petras is going to have a bounce back year. And I think Iowa wins the game. Kirk Ferentz and Tom Allen. That's a great coaching matchup. But I think Iowa wins the game. They're a better team.
Hey, Chris, did you see that Cincinnati's 19-point favorites against Miami? And Alabama's also 19-point favorites against Miami. So that means that the bookies think Cincinnati and Alabama are going to need a matchup.
Miami?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're both playing Miami.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Both playing at 3:30 too. Miami must be doing some split squad stuff.
Yeah, they're sending their 2s to the Alabama game and their 1s to the Cincinnati game.
The Cincinnati game. That's right.
Chris, you said how is Sean Clifford a Heisman hopeful? Well, it would be disrespectful to not have him as a Heisman hopeful right now, considering that Cade McNamara is getting disrespected, and he's not a Heisman hopeful, right? Or he's not on the Heisman watch list, which like 5 to 10, probably 10 to 15 quarterbacks get on each year. Cade McNamara is not even a top 10 quarterback in the Big Ten, let alone in the country. Get me a break. And Sean Clifford isn't either. He's not very good, but I agree with you on that. Now, I think Penn State's the better football team. I was going to pick them probably to win the game, but then I realized James Franklin's like 1-14 against ranked opponents on the road at his time at Penn State, which is pretty similar to what Harbaugh's done. He's not a good in-game coach at all. He's a great salesman, a great recruiter, but he can't coach to save his life. And I think
he's never slept with a player.
Here's what's going to happen. Penn State's going to have 150 more yards of offense, just like they did against Indiana last year, but they're going to lose because they turn the ball over 4 times. That's what's going to happen. And as for this Indiana-Iowa game, Iowa's the better team. Indiana lost their defensive coordinator, and they're going to be hit by the law of averages big time this year. I think Iowa's going to win the game pretty handily, probably 10 to 15 points.
I thought you were going to say 10 to 7. I was going to say that's about right.
No, Iowa's going to win probably 31 to 20. They're going to run the ball in Indiana. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it'll be like 6 to 5. All right, so let's move on to the picks.
Let's go. I'm gonna win this year.
Oh, the Red Sox are only down 3 now. What's going on? Anyway, first game, Bishop Sycamore at the Matha Catholic.
I'm gonna go with DeMatha Catholic because that's where Chase Young went. What's the line on this game?
There's no line on this game right now.
You can't bet on this alleged high school game. Is it
Nope.
on TV or are they removing Bishop Sycamore from TV?
It's on ABC.
No, you're lying.
To be honest, I don't even know if the game's gonna be played, but it's on the picks. Chris, who are you picking?
I'm gonna take Bishop Sycamore.
Oh my God. 15-year-old playing for him, which I guess makes sense in high school, but still. Mike, who are you taking?
I'm going with Bishop Sycamore also.
Mike, who are you taking? Oh, that's a great pick.
I'm going with the upset. Okay. Tomorrow night, ESPN, UAB against Jacksonville State.
I'll take UAB, even though it's a semi-new football program.
UAB.
We got an interesting game. Temple on the road.
Who did you take?
You gotta make the pick.
Yeah, Jesus.
Oh shit.
We wonder how Mike's
going
gonna end
with-
up with a perfect week. It's because he didn't make a single pick, and then he's gonna say he picked everyone.
The team that scores the most points is the team I'm taking.
All right,
I'm taking UAB. Temple at Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Big game.
Yeah, Rutgers.
Rutgers.
This is going to come down to the fourth quarter, but I think the loss of Anthony Russo is really going to hurt Temple.
Oh, give me a break.
I got
It's gonna help
Rutgers in this game.
Temple.
No, he was probably the best quarterback they've ever had. Another big game on Thursday. Gus Malzahn opens up with another group of 5 foe.
UCF. I don't even know who they're playing, but I'm taking UCF.
It's
They're
Boise.
playing
They're
Boise State.
hosting Boise
Yeah.
State.
UCF.
I'm gonna take Boise State.
I am also going to take. I'm going to take UCF. I think UCF's got more talent. I think Boise. They've kind of steadily gone a little bit downhill steadily. I think UCF's the better program right now. I think they'll win the game.
UCF is 3.5 to 5.5 point favorites apparently.
Interesting. Okay, Ohio State at Minnesota.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. Okay, North Carolina at Virginia Tech. Interesting game here, Friday night.
What? You're skipping over the Tennessee Bowling Green game. Joe Milton's first game at the head of Tennessee.
We're assuming that Tennessee's going to win the game.
Well, with Joe Milton, he's going to drop 100 on him. I'm going to take North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm not very high on North Carolina. They're
I'm not either,
Well,
but I think they're better than Virginia Tech.
Virginia
I think
Tech.
Mac Brown will have him prepared for the first game of the year.
Yeah, I don't really think much of Fuente, so I'll take North Carolina also. But I think Miami's going to win the Coastal this year. Okay, Michigan State at Northwestern.
I just want to point out Duke is only 6.5 point favorites against Charlotte this week.
Aren't they
And
at
they're
Charlotte?
going to Charlotte.
Well, that's your problem right there. We've seen that happen before.
That is an embarrassment.
Virginia Tech at Old Dominion.
Yeah, that is an embarrassment. I'm going to go with Mike. The line on this game is really spread out.
Okay.
It's anywhere between Northwestern as 3-point favorites to Northwestern as 7.5 point favorites.
That's because it opened at 7.5 and it's moved all the way down to 3.
Jeez, I'm going to take Michigan State. Tuck's coming.
I'm taking Northwestern.
Yeah, Michigan State's going to win the football game, and it's not going to be particularly close. I'm going to go with 12-10, Michigan State. All right, Western Michigan at Michigan.
Michigan.
Michigan. Penn State at Wisconsin.
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 Okay, we got a good one here. Colgate at Boston College.
They don't even have a line on this. I'll go with BC.
BC. 10 wins this year for BC.
You know, Colgate is my preferred toothpaste. But I think Boston College will win the game. This is one of the intriguing Week 1 non-conference matchups. We got Stanford on the road at Kansas State.
Where's this game?
It's in Manhattan.
I'll take Kansas State at home. I think it's an even matchup, but I'm just going to take them because they're a home team.
Yeah, I agree. I'll take Kansas State home because they're a home team.
I think the law of averages is going to help Stanford out this year. I think they're a better team. I think they have more talent because they always get those 4-star recruits that want to go to those good schools. They always get those guys. I'll take Stanford. Okay, Alabama against Miami in Atlanta.
Alabama.
Okay, hold on.
Cincinnati versus the other Miami.
No. Indiana at Iowa.
Iowa.
Also. Another very intriguing match. Man, there are a lot of great games. This is an under the radar game. We got West Virginia at Maryland. This is a rivalry game.
Yeah, I'm taking Maryland because they dominate the Big 12.
I'm also going to take Maryland because they're going to win 8 games this year.
No, West Virginia's a better football team. They got more talent. Maryland's a fraud. Their coach is a joke. I'm going to take West Virginia. All right. Louisiana Lafayette at Texas.
Texas.
You know, intriguing game, obviously. 2 ranked teams. They're ranked around the same. One's like Texas is 21st and Louisiana's 23rd. I think Texas will win the game. But if Louisiana wins the game, then that's not going to be good for Texas. They got to win that game. All right. Syracuse at Ohio. This is an interesting game. Syracuse blows, and Ohio's been one of the better teams in the MAC the past.
Syracuse is 1-point favorites on the road. I'll take Syracuse.
I think Ohio is going to win. Syracuse is really bad.
I would hope Syracuse can win the game. I'm going to take Syracuse. If they don't win the game, then that's a problem. Well, we got Oregon State at Purdue.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'll take Purdue.
Oregon State.
See this? You see this? Go Beavs! Go Beavs! Go Beavs! Oregon State in a blowout. Texas Tech versus Houston. The game is at NRG Stadium.
Texas Tech.
Chris, your guy Dana Holgerson, what is he doing?
Yeah,
what is he doing down there?
That's not my guy.
He is your guy.
I said he should be fired.
Well, he might be fired after this season. How much he's being paid? I'm going to take Texas Tech also. This is also because Matt Wells is on the hot seat, but he's my guy, so I'm going to take Texas Tech. All right, this is the big game of the week: Georgia against Clemson in Charlotte.
I'm going to take. I mean, that's practically a home game for. Well, Georgia doesn't have any fans, but I'm going to go with Georgia. I think they're the best team this year. I think they have an actual quarterback.
The best team in the country.
Did not like what I saw from Clemson in the playoff last year. They got pushed around by Ohio State, and Georgia's the more talent. I don't want to say they're more talent than Ohio State, but they have a shit ton of talent, a ton of 5 stars. I'm going to take Georgia also. Okay. LSU at UCLA.
LSU.
I am going to take UCLA. No, I'm taking LSU. Just kidding. UCLA, as much as I like Zach Charbonnet and Chip Kelly. I think LSU's got more talent, although Edo can't really coach to save his life, but they'll still win the game. Okay, this is an interesting game. Nevada, who's picked very high in a lot of teams' polls, they're on the road at Cal to start the year.
I'm going to take Nevada. Cal sucks.
Yeah, I'm taking Cal. Nevada is overrated.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people put Nevada in their top 25 this year. And listen, Cal they're steady. They go
Bad.
6-6 every year. Under Justin Wilcox, they go 6-6 every year. They're going to win this game. I'm going to take Cal. All right, BYU against Arizona. This is, BYU. They lost a ton of guys. They might be starting Mitt Romney's nephew.
Well, their average age is now 26. It was 27 last year, but they lost all their guys, so their now average age is 26. I'm going to go with BYU.
Yep, and Arizona.
Just because it's not because I like BYU, it's because Arizona's awful.
Arizona's debuting their Don Brown defense.
Who's their head coach? Is it still Kevin someone?
No, Jed Fish.
I'll take BYU.
Well, my guy, listen, I think BYU is overrated, and my guy, Don Brown, never lets me down. I'm taking Arizona. All right, we got a game on Sunday this week. Notre Dame travels to Florida State.
I'll take Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
What's his face is going to find himself? Oh, no, never mind. That's the next game.
Yeah, well, I think Notre Dame's supremely overrated this year, and I think Jack Cohn's a crap quarterback. Florida State in the upset. All right, Louisville against Ole Miss. This is the Monday game next week.
I'm going to take Ole Miss, and if what's his face is it Scott Satterfield is that his name? If he's not careful, he's going to be on the hot seat real quick.
Well, he's already in the hot seat because he tried to take the South Carolina job, and the Louisville boosters did not like that at all.
What was the game? Sorry.
Louisville versus Ole Miss.
I'm taking Ole Miss easily. Ole Miss is going to be really good this year.
Yeah, I think this game might be closer than a lot of people think, but I think Ole Miss is going to win. All right, that's going to do it for this week of the Big Four podcast. Anything else that we need to say besides fuck Michigan?
Michigan sucks.
All right, we will see you next week.
Hopefully.